I was born and raised in a village nestled deep within a mountain. The population was around 100, and since there was no school in the village, I commuted to elementary and middle schools in a nearby town. Most villagers were middle-aged or elderly, and a few high school and college students had left the village. Among the children at the time, there were only 3 of us in the same age group: myself, my childhood friend A, and our friend B. We spent our days studying, playing by a river, and fishing together. A, my childhood friend, was the smartest among us, and, to be frank, quite beautiful. She came from a family of shrine priests and had been raised as a shrine maiden from a young age. B, on the other hand, was a reliable guy who often took charge of planning and organizing our activities. He was a strong and knowledgeable friend who made our time together enjoyable. The town's elementary and middle schools were also sparsely populated and almost on the verge of closure. The village, surrounded by fields, a stream, and open spaces, housed an ancient shrine and a single pond. A sole grocery store and clothing shop, both run by the villagers, were the only establishments. To reach the village, you had to travel about 20 kilometers through a winding mountain road from a town with a population of a few thousand. Due to the remoteness of the mountain village, hardly anyone other than the villagers visited. Now, let me get to the main point of the story. The events I'm about to share took place during the summer of my 15th year, when I was a third-year middle school student. Although the story may seem unrealistic, I assure you that I will tell it without mixing in any fiction, owing to certain circumstances. I understand that my explanations might be lengthy, but I want to make sure you can grasp my experiences as clearly as possible. First, let me explain the village's events and traditions. Those who can identify the village are free to do so. However, even if, hypothetically, you identify the village, I strongly discourage visiting it due to certain circumstances. I hope you take this warning seriously. Regarding the shrine, festival, and traditions, in this village, a festival had been celebrated annually for several hundred years. I'll tell you the name of the festival because I don't think it will be identified. The festival was called the Tensei Festival. It was a village-wide event held every year on August 15th. All villagers participated in the festival, setting up stalls, dancing a unique dance called Oninashi Odori, and concluding with the shrine maiden performing a special dance called Joen Kagura. Traditional dance in our village involves sacred movements and rituals that symbolize a pure connection to the divine, to bring the Tensei festival to a close. 3 taboos related to the Tensei festival were passed down from generation to generation among the villagers. These taboos were communicated from parents to children, and then from children to grandchildren. Even I was taught these taboos by my parents when I was in elementary school, emphasizing that they must never be broken. The 3 taboos were as follows. First taboo. On August 14th, the day before the Tensei festival, non-members of the shrine priest family were forbidden from approaching the pond named Shoga-ike, located deep in the village. Second taboo. On August 15th, the day of the Tensei festival, all villagers were strictly prohibited from allowing anyone to enter the village. Villagers were also forbidden from leaving the village for the external world. Third taboo. From August 15th, the day of the Tensei festival, to August 20th, a few days after the Tensei festival, no matter what happened to villagers, acquaintances, family, or oneself, it was absolutely forbidden to speak of those events outside the village. I want you to deeply understand this point. Even if the village were hypothetically identified, it is not advisable to visit the village due to certain circumstances. As for the Shoga-ike pond mentioned in the first taboo, it was a pond with a long history in the village, and there was a local legend that it was connected to the lair of demons. This legend was known as the Shoga-ike Oni legend. The forest around Shoga-ike pond had been managed by the shrine priest family for generations, and unauthorized entry by villagers was strictly prohibited. The shrine priest family used 5 sacred ropes and 5 shrines to seal the Shoga-ike pond. According to the villagers, on August 14th, following the first taboo, the shrine priest family would surround the forest around Shoga-ike pond with barbed wire, effectively sealing off the pond. August 10th. We were playing by a stream, as usual, splashing water at each other and using homemade toys resembling water guns. We enjoyed our time. After finishing our lunch and contemplating the next activity, I asked, "What should we do tomorrow?" A replied,
I have Joen Kagura practice in the afternoon, so I can only play in the morning.
B added,
From now on, A will have more time devoted to Joen Kagura practice. I've got something special in mind, something I've wanted to try. Can I share it with you guys?
"Sure,"
Go ahead.
B whispered.
Don't tell anyone about this, but how about the three of us venture into the Shogaike forest on the night of August 14th?
But that would break a taboo. The night before the Tensei festival, someone from A's family would be guarding the entrance to the forest, I pointed out. A continued.
You're right. I think it's better to avoid it. And going into the Shogaika forest seems impossible.
Anticipating responses from you guys, I partially loosened the barbed wire net around the Shogaike forest last night. Also, do you know there's a shrine inside the Shogaika forest? There's something I overheard when my parents were talking the day before yesterday. That shrine supposedly existed before the history of this village, and if you touch a stone inside the shrine, you can see things.
B explained.
I've never heard that story from my parents, but if it's true, it might be intriguing.
I agree with A. I said, although I haven't heard such a story, it's intriguing. So, what becomes visible after touching the stone?
I have no idea. My parents changed the topic right after mentioning seeing things. But if it's true, it's worth checking out, right?
Yeah, it's a bit scary, but I'll trust your story and give that shrine a visit.
I'm going too. Since tomorrow is the Tensei festival, my dad will probably tell me to go to bed early. But I'll somehow sneak out of the house.
I'll come near your place to pick both of you up. What about the timing? I asked.
Around 8 p.m. If it's too late, it might be troublesome if something happens. So I want to go with some time to spare.
Got it.
Understood.
So what are we doing tomorrow? I asked.
Considering A's schedule, how about playing Hanafuda cards? Or something at your place?
That's fine with me.
Perfect. Be at my place around 9 a.m. tomorrow. We decided to do this despite not understanding the importance of adhering to the taboos. I didn't stop A, a member of the Shrine Priest family, or my close friend B, and I ended up agreeing with their opinions. This would become the mistake of my lifetime. August 11th. People who had been away from the village returned. That included adults and high school students, totaling about 10 people. Adding them to those who remained in the village, it could be said that this number represented the actual population of the villagers. From this day, preparations for the Tensei festival began. Cleaning the shrine approach, shrine and hall for Kagura, preparing decorations, setting up stalls, fully blocking the path leading from the village to the outside world, preparing the complete blockade of the Shogaika forest, and so on. The entire village became bustling. There was concern about whether the entrance to the Shogaike forest, opened by B, had been closed, but B assured that it was okay. In the morning, I played with A and B at my residence, and in the afternoon, I went fishing alone. August 12th. The entrance and exit points of the village were completely sealed. Barriers were set up in the forests and groves leading to the entrance and exit points, isolating the village from the outside world. The entrance to the Shogaike forest was fully sealed, and it seemed like members of the Shrine Priest family were guarding the surroundings. The cleaning and decoration of places related to the Tensei festival were mostly finished, and preparations had advanced to the point where the locations of various stalls were known. This day, A had a full day of Joen Kagura practice, so I studied in the morning, went fishing with B in the afternoon, and spent the day. August 13th. Most of the preparations for the Tensei festival were complete. The stalls were ready, and only the arrival of the day of the Tensei festival remained. A general summons came from the head of the Shrine Priest family, A's father. It was about the Tensei festival. There was a final check on the prohibitions, confirmation of the Oninashi Odori, confirmation of the Joen Kagura schedule, and finally, an important announcement from the Shrine Priest. The Shrine Priest said,
My daughter will perform the Joen Kagura again this year during the Tensei festival. It will probably be a flawless performance. Everyone watch over my daughter with care.
A, who was standing next to me, seemed embarrassed as she listened to the announcement. Honestly, I thought she looked cute. August 14th, Tensei Festival Eve, noon. Today is the eve of the Tensei Festival. The shrine priest issued another summons to the villagers, and documents containing the schedule and various details about the Tensei Festival were distributed. Tonight, we will head to the shrine in the Shoga-ika forest. After confirming the final details of the plan following the summons, we gathered at A's residence. A wanted us to see her Joen Kagura. She adorned herself with a mask worn by generations of shrine maidens, held a sacred fan and a branch of a tree named Sakaki, and performed the Joen Kagura. It lasted about 3 minutes, ending surprisingly quickly. I was genuinely moved by the Joen Kagura, and B was also applauding with a smile. August 14th, Tensei Festival Eve, evening. We reconfirmed the plan for the night with the three of us and returned to our respective homes. After having dinner, I prepared a flashlight, insect-repellent powder, and a self-made flute for emergencies. I was ready. August 14th, Tensei Festival Eve, night. It was 7:30 in the evening. I told my parents that I needed to pick up something I had forgotten at B's house and headed there. B wasn't at the meeting point at his house, suggesting he had already left. I proceeded to the meeting point with A.
Sorry for the wait.
Are your parents okay?
They're busy with Joen Kagura practice, so I slipped away.
I see. B wasn't at the meeting point.
Really? Will we proceed as planned?
After waiting for some time, B arrived. Where were you?
Sorry. I went to check the barbed wire I had opened. If it had been fixed, it would have been pointless. Since it wasn't, it seems fine for now.
I see. Shall we go?
Yeah, it's only a few minutes away. Let's go while checking our preparations.
Roger.
We headed to the entrance of the opening B had made, taking less crowded paths whenever possible. As expected, the members of the shrine priest family are patrolling, I said. Though not clearly visible, it seemed like many figures were on patrol.
Let's go when there's an opening.
B, take the lead. Taro and I don't know the way.
Got it.
When the figures moved away from the entrance of the hole, we moved. I tried to dive into the hole eagerly. Hey B, it's hard to pass through this hole.
You can make it if you crawl.
Despite scraping the back of my clothes on the barbed wire, I made it through the hole. B and A also passed through the hole easily and entered the forest. What do we do from here?
If we go northeast through this forest, we should reach the animal trail. Let's head there for now.
It feels eerie in this forest.
Yeah. We turned on flashlights and walked towards the animal trail. Despite living in a village in the mountains, entering a forest where many animals roamed at night was something we hadn't done before. The howling of mountain dogs echoed, and there were plenty of snakes and insects at our feet. While B and I were fine, A was holding onto my sleeve all the time, reminding me that she was indeed a girl. After walking for about 30 minutes, we still hadn't reached the animal trail. Hey B, aren't we out of the woods yet? Are we going in the wrong direction?
I'm using a compass, so I don't think so.
Show me for a moment.
See?
Certainly, the direction is correct.
Is it okay?
Since we've come this far, even if we go back now, we'll just get lost in the forest. We have to walk until we reach the animal trail.
I see.
Let's go.
We started walking. About 5 minutes after we started, something happened. We reached the animal trail. Is this the right way on this animal trail?
Probably, considering the time.
What should we do?
To confirm, shall we go to the Shoga-iki pond that should be ahead?
Agreed.
But don't get too close to Shoga-ika Pond.
B and I had never seen Shoga-ike pond, and A had only been there once with her parents when she was little. Therefore, it was necessary to check before going to the shrine. A few minutes after walking.
The sounds of animals have stopped.
Certainly, I can't hear the howling of mountain dogs anymore. What's wrong, A? A didn't seem well.
Actually, I've been feeling a chill since we entered this animal trail.
A chill? Are you okay?
I'll lend you a jacket or something.
A was in a dress, so it wasn't unreasonable for her to feel cold on a summer night.
You know, it's not a chill that hits the skin, but one that seems to go straight to the heart.
We realized that A wasn't in a good state, because she tends to start conversations with, you know, when she's feeling mentally exhausted. Should we turn back?
But without checking Shogaike Pond, we'll just get lost in the forest.
That's true. Can you make it, A?
I'll be okay for a little while. Shall we go?
Understood. If anything happens, feel free to say.
Should we increase our walking speed a bit?
What do you think, A?
It's fine as it is.
All right. At that moment, I instinctively sensed something wasn't right. Whether this was a sixth sense or not, I couldn't say. After walking for a while...
Huh?
What's wrong? B seemed to have noticed something.
There's a hut ahead. Shall we take a short break there?
A hut? Indeed, there was a hut at the end of the animal trail.
Shall we rest there?
Sure. Since A wasn't in the best condition, we decided to rest there. For some reason, I didn't feel uneasy about there being a hut. This hut looks pretty ancient. The hut was covered with grass and wood, and even when looking up, the sky was concealed, with no moonlight piercing through.
Let's go inside. Both A and we need a break.
B went alone towards the entrance of the hut, opening the door. The door wasn't locked. A had been silent the whole time. Upon entering, B hurriedly found a chair and had A sit there. Inside the hut, various items were scattered, such as chairs, tables, and something like a knife. There was also a strange smell. A sat on the chair, and B searched around the hut. I decided to examine the inside of the hut. Turning a corner from where things were scattered, I found a door deeper inside. What's this door? I tried to open the door. At that moment, I heard a sound like pom, pom from inside. I hesitated for a moment, but curiosity got the better of me and I opened the door. Inside was a traditional Japanese toilet, and I realized that the strange smell was coming from there. The window there was broken, offering a view of the forest outside. Wondering about it as I tried to leave the toilet, I heard a voice from behind. Ah, ah, ah. The voice was twisted, and I felt it staring at me without actually seeing it. I stopped in my tracks. Turning around and looking back, overwhelmed by fear, I froze. Ah, ah, ah. The voice grew closer, slowly approaching. At that moment, B came back.
Hey, are you okay?
Yeah, B.
Geez, both A and you, are you guys okay? A fell asleep on that chair in the back, and you were standing in front of the door, frozen, and wetting yourself.
I had wet myself, overwhelmed by fear I hadn't even noticed. I told B about what had just happened.
We don't know what that was, but leaving this hut seems like a good idea.
Agreed.
We should take A with us.
We returned to the room where things were scattered. Hey, where's A?
Huh? She was supposed to be sitting in that chair over there.
A had disappeared from the chair. Then, we heard footsteps from the corner of the room. Hey, A. Approaching the corner of the room, there was a door that seemed to blend in with the wall.
What's that door?
Opening the door, there was a staircase leading upstairs. Honestly, I hadn't noticed that there was a second floor in this hut. Even from the outside, everything that could be considered a second floor was covered with wood and grass. Did A go upstairs?
Looks like it. The door at the entrance to the hut is closed too.
B and I slowly climbed the stairs. The wood of the staircase was rotten and decayed to the point where it seemed like it would break off if we walked quickly. And as we tried to open the door to the room on the second floor...
Hey, wait!
What's wrong?
Look closely at the door.
The door was closed with numerous talismans, and there was salt on both ends of the door. However, that salt was black and discolored.
Judging by the atmosphere of this door, I think this place is dangerous. But the talismans on the door and the wall are torn, so A is inside here.
We have no choice but to go.
I'll open it.
B said that and kicked the door with all his might. At that moment, B was blown away by some strong force and fell to the bottom of the stairs. B!
Hey, look inside the room!
I looked inside the room. A was standing there, but something was off. She looked at us, raising both hands to the sides. Hey! I tried to run towards her when, from behind A, something like a black shadow in the shape of a person appeared, stared at me with red, clouded eyes, and chased after me. In an instant, I closed the door, grabbed a lump of black, cloudy salt, and ran down the stairs. B, who had fallen below, grabbed a knife and stood ready. B, run!
A is in there! Damn it!
At that moment, something black approached from the direction of the toilet.
Damn it!
With the knife still in hand, B and I left the hut. The moment we left the hut, A's scream echoed from the hut.
Hey! Damn it!
B tried to go back to the hut, but something black chased after us. B threw the knife at the approaching black entity, while I threw the lump of salt I was holding. The black entity paused for a moment as we threw the items. Seizing that opportunity, B and I made a desperate escape. We ran wildly along the animal trail, stumbling several times. Frankly, my recollection of this area is hazy, and I don't remember it well. After running at full speed for a few minutes, when I fell, a voice echoed in my ears. From that point on, B and I continued to run recklessly and reached the barbed wire surrounding Shoga-iki Forest. We desperately sought help from the adults outside and blew our self-made flute. The adults from the shrine priest family noticed and helped us,